took on c4 and then played c6 to try and close down the diagonal. Bishop b4 check. The idea is to try and provoke white to play bishop d2 so that the queen's no longer covering that d4 pawn. It looks like this is the only game going so far.
Okay, so Doug Eckert's got black on this one, and he's playing Ashton Jin, who's a 2240.
Okay.
That's their Minnesota's board 3.
Okay, yeah, so it's a 2 versus 3. Yeah, black's a pawn up here. Although we don't like to take on c6, so. Yeah, Callan can be tough to play against. Okay, so yeah, it looks like white took on c6 here with the knight, trade some pieces. And yeah, black's giving up the exchange here, but it gets rid of that light square bishop and gets the queen on a8. So it's kind of double-edged. Assuming white takes on a8, I guess it doesn't have to. Looks like a couple of the other games will start. Yeah, it looks like Isaiah is playing a London system.
And Isaiah Gadson has white here. He's playing Oke Iwu, who has a 2242 rating.
This is the London system, pretty standard setup there. It looks like Asish Panda, he's playing the white side of French. That's like the 2 knights variation. The early h4 and h5, that's interesting. You play rook h3. That's just put in the rook on g3. Interesting.
And we've got Asish Panda on white for this board, and he's playing their board 1, Samrug Narayanan, who's a 2297. Maybe he can get a draw against board 1 again this week.
Yeah, he almost had a win last week, so. Yeah, it's a really interesting position. He's got this rook on g3. It's hitting that g7 pawn, and of course black doesn't want a castle here, so I guess black could play bishop takes e5, and he can take white's other center pawn, but his g7 pawn would probably the dark square bishop would come off, and then white would take g7. Okay, white doesn't take it as castles. Yeah, this is a really odd position. Yeah, looks like Roman's game has started now. So he has black, he's playing French. Yeah, looks like an advanced French with a early B6. C5 is the normal move here, but he's playing early B6, queen D7. That's an interesting way to play. 97. Yeah, I guess the idea is black's trying to trade off that light square bishop so it doesn't get stuck behind the pawn chain. Before he plays C5.
And Roman's got black against Ethan Lee, who's their board 4.
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at Doug Eckert's game now, and yeah, it looks like he sacrificed exchange. He has the bishop pair, and white's got some weaknesses on the light squares, so this is going to be interesting. So yeah, just play E5, hitting the center. Be interesting to see if he's going to get compensation for that exchange. His pieces are a lot more active. Yeah, so going back to Asish Panda's game, looks like black took the pawn on E5 with the bishop. So it's interesting. Are we going to see a mass exchange on E5 with white grabbing that pawn back on G7? Yeah, I think white almost has a take on E5. If white trades off the dark square bishops, that's going to make the black's remaining bishop pretty bad. They're on C8 behind all the pawns. Okay, yeah, so he goes ahead and takes on e5 once. And yeah, if he trades queens, he can take on g7 and the material's even, and white's left with a better bishop. Okay, now he just plays rook e3, keeping the queens on the board. Yeah, so black's got to move the queen. And maybe just drop back to c7 and try and get some pressure down the c file. Let's see if there's anything else going on. Okay, I'm looking at Roman's game. Roman just played h5, and it's like trying to open up white's king side. As black's king's still in the center. So yeah, so white's pushed a lot of pawns here. But black can just castle on the queen side here, and just castle away from all the pressure. So okay, yeah, so white plays h3, supporting the pawn. Okay, yeah, so you just see that castle's long. And yeah, now black can take and just open up the h file. Maybe double the rooks in the h file. Yeah, this could be tough to deal with for white. Okay, yeah, queen b5. There's the queen over to the queen side. Yeah, we got opposite side castling here, so yeah, one side can push the pawns and open up the opponent's king. It'd be interesting. Okay, I see that's black's taking here on g4, open up the h file. See, that's gonna be a lot of pressure now on the white king. Okay, yeah, white just takes on c5, just ignoring the threat. Yeah, now Roman's taking on e5 with a knight. Just grabbing another pawn. White can trade queens, but black's going to be up at least a pawn here. And it's also defending that pawn on g4. So I'm not sure if white wants to trade queens here or not. Okay, yeah, so yeah, queen a6 just check it, and yeah, black's just blocking with the queen. Looks like yeah, black just happy to trade queens here. Yeah, so they trade queens. White takes on g4. Yeah. So yeah, black can take back on g4 and just be a pawn up, or take on c5. He takes on c5. It's like the dark square bishops might be coming off, and yeah, it looks like it might be a winning endgame for black. But yeah, the dark square bishops being traded, and they have a trade on e6. Yeah, black's got a nice pawn center. Yeah, just grabs the pawn on g4.
Oh, so he's not worried about the A pawn? Oh, okay.
Well, I think white's going to take the e pawn, and white's probably going to get the pawn back here, so this might be headed to the draw now. So he takes a G pawn first. He's hitting a knight, so might actually grab another pawn here. Yeah, if the black moves a knight, white can take on a7, and now white's up a pawn. But it's probably a draw still. So white does have a passed pawn on the A file. Yeah, it might be possible for white to win this. Let's check navigate, see if there's anything else. Yeah. And yeah, it looks like Asish Panda's up piece for a moment. Well, that knight on b7 is kind of trapped. He's got defend it with the bishop or the queen. Looks like black's rooks are kind of awkwardly placed around the king there. If there's any potential tactics to try to open up the king. Okay, yes, so he just brings a knight to d6.
This queen's going to take.
Well, if the queen takes, there's a
bishop can move out of the way.
Discovery. I mean, he's got maybe bishop a7 ideas, and the queen would have to move. White could take on g8. Yeah, since white's already up a piece, giving up 2 pieces for the rook probably isn't too bad if it can weaken the king a little bit. Yeah, black could just play knight f6 and try and take the queen away off of that g file. Okay, yeah, black goes in and takes the knight, so yeah, we're gonna see, yeah, bishop h7. Discovery against the queen. Okay, yeah, so the queen moves. Just takes on g8. No white's up in exchange. Yeah, g7's covered pretty well, but he could just move that g3 rook over to e3 and double on to d3 and double on the file. Okay, he just drops the queen back. Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, nice. Just doubles rooks on the open file. Yeah, this should be a win for white. Yeah, white can play g4 now. And threaten g5, try and open up the space in front of the king. And yes, black just plays a5. That's kind of a quiet move. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, white can just play g4 or g5. There's not much black can do. Yeah, black can push his pawn on the queen side, but it's just too slow. Yes, black brings the queen to c7, hitting the f4 pawn, but white might still just go g5 anyway. Yeah, g5. Black moves the knight away, so yeah, white can take on h6, and now yeah, black's king's looking pretty weak. Panda's also up on the clock too. He's got a more than a minute advantage. He's doing pretty good on the clock also. Yes, he takes on h6. Black takes back. Let's see, white can play a move like queen f2 or queen e5 to trade queens. Yeah, now black's hitting the c5 pawn. It looks like yeah, white's just going to win the f7 pawn because if he defends it, he'll just double the rooks. This black defends the pawn with the king, and he just doubles the rooks on the F file. He has really no way to defend that F pawn now. There's a white can take on F7, and they play rook A7. The only thing white has to watch out for a back rank. That's really the only thing he has to be worried about right now. Does black go king F8 or H8? Yeah, king F8. Maybe just white moves king C1 or pushes one of the pawns to give the king a little bit of loop. So you can move the other rook. Okay, so he plays A3 just to give him the king a little bit of loop.
Like Jared's ready. I'll see if I can figure out the double phone call thing.
Okay. It looks like the game's really low on time, and Doug actually took a piece.
On Doug's game?
Really
Oh, okay.
low on time, yeah. Looks like,
Hello.
There's Jared.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, barely.
Yeah, I can hear you too.
How about now?
Yeah, you just
A little
barely
louder?
hear you. But yeah,
Okay.
looks like his white just resigned. He dropped the rook.
All right, so we got a point there.
Let's see one win from Missouri. Looks like Roman's game's probably still draw. He's down a pawn. It almost looks like White's walking into mating net almost. Gotta be careful.
So we've got what? One win?
Yeah, one win. Looks like Panda's up in exchange, and Roman's down a pawn, but it's interesting.
I've got it on Roman's game now. Let me know if you want me to switch.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably
Go ahead.
that's probably the most interesting one right now, I think.
I was going to say I tuned in right when he gave up that pawn, so he was clearly chasing checkmate. Because he could have just saved the pawn, but man, looks like Isaiah's game's got a lot left to it.
Yeah, they started out slow and then really picked up the pace.
Yeah. Oh, picked up the pawn.
Does Isaiah's game look like a draw, maybe?
Um,
Or too early?
no. It doesn't look like a draw. It looks like Oni 419 is going to try and get a win here.
If he can get the rooks off, maybe. He's down 3 pawns.
Black just has to get around to get his pawns going there on the king side. And after that happens, although if you start dropping material, we'll see. I guess they just traded. Man.
They could have taken on F6.
Yep. They're both kind of panicking, aren't they?
Yeah, they got a minute left with the increment. That's
got to keep the rooks on if we're going to try and win. So I'm looking from the black side. I keep forgetting we're not black.
yeah.
I guess we have to trade. This is
off.
probably going to be in a draw now.
Wow.
I really expected black to find a way.
Yeah, B4 and maintain the dark square.
Fast.
Yeah, I didn't.
I was on the record seeing the draw before you guys did.
Yeah.
Yes. That record is all yours, sir.
It still could be tricky. I mean, it's. Yeah, black might be able to win the bishop now.
Actually, it does look like black is probably going to win. Yeah, he's going to win the bishop, and even if he didn't win the bishop, he was going to just start winning pawns.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're even so far?
Yeah.
Panda Roman.
Panda won, so we're up 2-1.
Whoa, Panda beat board 1?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he was playing Narayanan, who's a 2296.
Okay.
Nice. Take pride in that.
Well, we're up 1 point. Let's see, Roman's game.
Yeah, Roman's pushing.
We've got rook h5 here, and
yeah, white's starting to get a little bottled up.
well, after rook h5, rook b4, king g3, it's kind of hard to defend that knight.
Yeah, the rook has to go to h3, and that looks really uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah, rook h3 too. Yeah, then you have like stuff like knight f4, and the rook goes to h2, then king g3.
Guess he's just taking his time, making sure rook h5 is the best. It looks really uncomfortable for white.
Yeah, I didn't see rook f3. That's good.
Well, yeah, because the knight's pinned.
Yeah.
But he walked into that one. That sucks.
The rook's still defended, but it's going to be a draw now, I think. Yeah. That knight can get over to the A file in time.
Man, after all that, I got to applaud Roman's effort, though. He really tried to win it.
Yeah.
Because it was drawn way before. It's hard to win those equal positions when it's so late in the game.
Yeah.
Wow. So We got 2 wins, 1 loss, and probably a draw. Well, this is definitely going to be a draw. I don't think he can time him out. There we go. Not a bad first round result, though.
Yeah, 2.5 to 1.5.
Do we have any typed in jokes from Nathaniel or no?
No, not yet.
Not yet. I actually have Isaiah going and
Isaiah's going?
Panda going.
There's Isaiah, okay.
It looks like Isaiah's playing an accelerated dragon. Knight on h6. That's interesting.
Wow. So bishop g4 and then knight f5. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And then bishop e3. Very unusual position.
I guess white doesn't care
H-
about bishops much.
Yeah, clearly. Because h3 is coming. c6 is kind of ugly. Be really nice to get into c5, but that looks pretty distant. Pretty distant. Maybe we could try knight takes on e3 and then rook c8 and c5, but I think white can still stop it with a knight a4. We're just kind of saddled with that weak c6 pawn. And the pawn on b2 is, he's like, get rid of it. It's just a weakness.
Just give it up, yeah. Well,
I guess he's counting on, like, he's going to take on e3, and those pawns in the middle are going to be weak.
But could he just play d4 immediately if white takes? Because knight on f3 is pinned.
Yeah, he could. Cool. Nice. So we got rid of the c6 problem. And black, I don't know that black has the advantage, but black's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
As Roman started his game, he asked me for the schedule, so I wonder if he lost it or something.
Who?
Roman.
Roman. He started playing Aerospastic Monkey.
Okay, so he knows who to play in. I was worried he lost the schedule.
Hopefully that's who he's supposed to be playing.
Roman's supposed to have white against Jin? Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully we do a better job than Illinois did in making challenges.
That was a mess last week. And I cut out like 10 minutes of us staring at each other trying to figure out what was going on.
Oh, wow.
What game are you guys
I
on?
need to. We're looking at Isaiah's game.
Okay.
Or at least I am.
Yeah.
Looks pretty interesting at the moment. He got to double white's pawns by taking on f3, and white allowed it by playing knight e2. Real question is, do we play c4 as black? Or does that make things easy on white?
Yeah, it kind of makes that dark square bishop look kind of bad. So.
Yeah, but it's got to be said our dark square bishop's kind of bad. So
Yeah,
from that standpoint, I do like it. What I don't like about it is that the pawns get fixed and white has the eternal c3 square for his knight. I guess that's not the end of the world, really, but he could try and get to a4 and then c5 with his knight. Meanwhile, black has knight h4 ideas, or depending on how he feels about the dark square bishops, he could offer up a trade. Definitely taking on e3 is a bad idea. That would give white the diamond pawn shape, which is like the strongest pawns. Decided to, Why? All right, I'm going to look around at some other games real quick.
Yeah, so I was saying played e6, looks like maybe he's trying to activate his queen.
On which game, Isaiah's?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
totally on Isaiah's game.
Yeah, like a queen h4 or queen g5. It'd be nice to have knight h4 and then queen g5, but that's not going to be possible because white can play a queen d2. What about queen h4, queen h3, knight h4? That's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
If it works.
I guess he could play bishop h6 first and take control of that diagonal.
Yeah. Yeah. White should be worried here, actually. White should be really worried. Because I don't know that knight g3 actually defends everything. That's kind of what you're hoping as white here, I think. Sometimes you have to play knight f4 to hit a queen if she shows up on h3. But after bishop h6, I'm really surprised he took with the bishop. I would have...
Yeah, I agree.
This is looking great for black.
Yeah, bishop h6. Yeah, white's you either got to move that rook or play f4. Which he probably doesn't want to do.
Yeah. I'd be actually mortified right now as white. I mean, black has so many ideas. Wow. Huh. I was looking at Doug's game, and I was thinking that black was like probably way better, and then he just traded knights. And now black is probably still slightly better because of the way the pawns are, and he has the dark square bishop. But it's not like a huge advantage, I don't think.
Yeah, one idea for white might be to move that knight off f3 and play f4 and push enough pawns. Take some space on the king side.
Yeah, I mean, if we can hold those light squares, it's a great plan. I would actually race to control the C file. Black's obviously going to play C5. Maybe even like a rook D1 to put pressure on the D pawn, so that C5 is even more discouraged. I don't know, though. The thing about playing C5 for black is that white's dark square bishop will become better then. So black might hold off on C5, which is the natural kind of pawn break here.
Yeah.
He might be angling for F6 instead, although he just moved his rook off the F file, so... I suspect he's not entirely sure what the best idea here is. Although it looks like he's probably going to try knight F8, E6.
But he might be putting a bishop on F8.
Think so?
Is it possible? I don't know.
F8 and G6. I don't know. I think my evaluation has changed. I like white's position quite a bit.
Yeah.
With the knight on E4, I think it was definitely a little different read. I think black had a little something, but because we really don't want the dark square bishop for white to get, as black, we don't want it to get active and going. Right now it's just kind of a redundant piece.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he is going for the E6 idea. It looks like he's just getting ready to clamp down and just hold. Doesn't it? He's going to try and get Doug to go forward and create some weaknesses he can attack, I guess.
Yeah.
But Doug does have the idea. Bishop D2 to G5, trade that dude off. If allowed, and that'd be great. And if he plays H6, we have to be kind of worried as black if a queen shows up on G4. It starts to feel a little loose.
Yeah.
And we rework that knight to F5, knight F5. It's an idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's a plan. It's in the works. White has attacking ideas. What will black do to hold? Although, that knight on E6 is going to hold a lot of important squares, so...
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's going to be hard for white to really run ahead. But he has ideas, at least. So Isaiah went for his queen to G5, and then white played knight G3. We've got a trade of rooks. Probably going to have a trade of pawns. Although, after rook A8, is queen C2 possible? No, I guess not. Okay. What is possible is like, well, yeah, do we play rook A8 or do we play queen F4, knight H4? Then if, I think we still want our bishop to go to H6 actually, and try and keep white's rook at bay so it can get to E3, and also kind of keep tabs on the dark square bishop, or white's dark square bishop.
Could black maybe throw in H5 first?
I'm a little worried about like an H3 from white. and king h2, and it kind of gets a little clogged. You know, as long as white can hold f3, it'll actually be kind of safe. So, like, running the h pawn is an idea. I just don't know that it's fast enough. Because if the pawn goes to h4, it's kind of in the way on h4.
Well, Isaiah went for it.
Yeah, he's a believer.
Went for h4.
Wow, just all the way. Well, white didn't get a chance to play h3, so now it's not horrible. I mean, black can conceive of h3 himself. I don't know. I don't know if I wanted to trade knights. But you know what? Black's rook could come up to c4 at some point and swing across. The oscillating rook. Actually, it looked pretty good on the fourth rank there. I think what Isaiah is thinking, he's thinking endgame advantage. That's what he's thinking. Although he did just kind of say whatever to that, getting his pawn back.
Well, yeah, if all the pieces come off, then white's winning with those fast pawns on the queen side.
Yeah, we definitely can't trade. H3. Oh, that's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
All right. Huh. I don't know about Panda's position here. That looks pretty nice for white. Although, Panda does have the two bishops. If only our rook run a4.
Yeah, I'm looking at Doug Eckert's game. He got f4 in. He's pushing those pawns.
He is. Well, he's got his light squares covered, so he can do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. And black is just hunkering down. That was black's whole idea. He's almost forced to take that, right? Like, maybe he's not too worried about pushing his g4 pawn. That looks difficult, but maybe not. I'd be really tempted to take en passant. I like Panda's style. He's just like, ah.
Yeah.
You guys are on Panda's game?
Yeah, I'm kind of just looking at them all, but right now I'm looking at Panda's.
Okay. It was on Doug, I think.
Probably do King F7. Although the pin drops a pawn, so maybe not. But still, you know, has to watch out for Rook C7 at some point. Yeah, it's got to be said in Panda's game, the knight feels natural on C3, but you kind of want that tempo. So he played knight D2. I suppose trying to encourage trades with like a bishop to D5. Yeah, bishop D5, trades, rook takes, the knight C4. And despite the double pawns, black looks like they'll be doing pretty good. You can also consider just moving his bishop to D1. Although it looks a little uncomfortable. Like we'd probably have to extricate that bishop out at some point. Probably just trades is pleasant. I don't think we should give away pawns, even though it's a double pawn. I don't think we should just give it away. I think we should make white spend time on it.
Although with bishop D1, if white plays E3, black can play E4 and shut down that light square bishop.
Oh yeah. He decided to keep the bishops. He likes the bishops.
But what about rook E8 here? Wasn't that
that's a pretty good question. I mean, bishop G5 just runs into F4, right? So I think he just dropped a piece. Yeah. That sucks. Oh, look at that. So Isaiah got his bishop out. It's actually moving and doing stuff. Got a pretty tough position here.
Big time advantage.
Yeah, monster time advantage.
Got that D pawn rolling too, so the white's pawn is still sitting on A2 and B2.
Yeah, and our pawn in the middle of the board is way up there. Black is way up on time here. Not just like on the clock, but tempo-wise too.
Yeah. And the queen's tied down to the foot in F3.
Ugh, yeah, I would expect Isaiah to bring that one home.
So Panda played bishop g5, and his opponent played knight f3. So it looks like maybe he's saving his piece.
Oh, he played knight f. Huh. He didn't think f4 was working? I think f4 was working. Maybe we win a couple pawns, but a piece is a piece, right?
Well, I guess he can take
surprised
twice on f4, and he's still hitting the knight.
Right, but we take the bishop on e6 first. So if f4, before moving that knight there, if f4 and you take with the pawn, you're not hitting the knight then, so we could take on e6. You lose 2 pawns, but 2 pawns for bishop? Yes, please. I'll make it work, you know? Yeah, I think Panda's rattled. He knew he dropped the piece, and now he's rattled. Don't count him out.
Looks like Roman lost. So.
Yeah, that sucks. It was kind of a drawish game. I was kind of looking at it, but it looked pretty drawish. I guess it wasn't.
Isaiah's looking pretty good now.
I'll tell you who looks good. Doug has a pretty promising position. He has all the pressure. And while that knight on c4 is pretty good, it's as long as white isn't careless, it's not going to do a lot.
It looks like in Isaiah's game, his opponent sacked the rook to try and get a perpetual. That's done. Isaiah doesn't take it.
What do they say? Tricks are for kids?
Yeah, and white's out of checks, so I think this is game over.
Yeah. Yeah, this is way over.
Okay,
Nice.
So back up by a
Nice
point.
win, Isaiah.
Yeah.
I think White really messed up there, letting his f pawns get doubled. He's just like, here you go. Here's a structural advantage for you. All right.
It looks like a very closed structure in Doug Eckert's game.
Yeah, it has a lot of potential. What I want to see there is I want to see actually the bishop make its way to c1, freeing the queen. And then we're going to bring the queen over. We're going to try and break with g4 at some point and get some stuff going.
Yeah, he needs to be careful on the clock because he's down a minute and it's a lot of moves left to be played in this game. Not much time.
Yeah, that's probably why he just moved his rook like that. Just make a move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely consider something like bishop, b2 or d2, maybe b2, queen c3, and then swing the bishop back to c1. Just make sure that knight on c4 really can't do anything. And then free the queen up, bring it over, and then we start to look to try and rip open the h-file. And if the queen gets to like h1, you know, I think that's actually what he's going for now. He's probably even thinking about sacking the a pawn, just like king up somewhere, maybe e2, maybe f2, and then just queen h1, and then he's going to take on g6, open it up, and That looks pretty good, doesn't it? Even if black gets that A pawn, I think it's just too slow. Of course, he doesn't have to give him that A pawn because black can't do anything. So he can take his time here if he wants. Looks pretty promising.
It looks like Panda's down a couple pawns and way down on the clock. So I think it's so good there.
Yeah, he blundered and then started making bad moves. And of course, he's down on the clock, so that doesn't make it easier. Wow.
Which game are you guys on? Is it Doug still?
Panda is like really close to
wow.
being lost. I mean, white is winning, technically.
There's not much black can do here.
His bishop is dominated. White has 3 extra pawns.
Black can just put the king on A7 and
Yeah, he's probably just trying to flag him a little bit too.
yeah.
All right, so in Doug's game, played H6. Doug took, black took back with his queen. Now he has pressure on the G pawn, black does. Is it enough? Is it enough? And now he goes for this bishop B2 maneuver. Get the bishop to C1. Does black have this H4 idea? H5, H4? After he has to move his king off G7, he has to move his king to like F8. And I think he has that idea then. Let's see here.
Yeah.
That's 3 moves. 1, 2. Well, no. I guess it's too slow. Yeah, it's too slow to actually do anything. It's got to be said, I would have preferred that rook that's on H2 on H1 now.
Yeah.
Because the queen always, like, if the knight moves, the queen comes to D1, and she's, like, not doing a lot, but she's kind of doing stuff, you know, doing more than she was. Actually, queen D1 and then queen B3, I don't think it actually forces, but it's pretty irritating, really.
Yeah, H5 is on the board, H4 is coming.
There we go. Defend D1. So he did have enough time to defend it all. And he can even play knight H4 here. And black has no bricks, no nothing.
Yeah.
He could even think about knight G5. The queen's trapped.
Yeah.
Oh, man, if that works. I guess it doesn't work because he just takes the knight, then he plays over to E4, but that would have been embarrassing.
Yeah.
All right, so knight H4. We're attacking the F pawn. And white doesn't have a great way to defend it. He has to take the knight. And then, what, queen f3, queen d1, something like that.
Queen f3.
This is probably going to be a draw, though. I don't see any way white can force anything here.
Yeah, looks like maybe it's going to repeat. No,
Man, were we behind just like a tempo? Like, was that rook h2 enough for us to like not have enough bite in the position?
yeah, maybe so.
Actually, what we should have done is that earlier idea of just dropping the a pawn and getting the queen over to h1. We should have just ran for that idea, I guess. Because the bishop was defending a1, so even if the a pawn ran, it was defended.
Black puts a knight on a8.
Yeah, I don't know about this idea. It seems dubious. I guess he's figuring that white can't do a lot with just the queen. But like, let's drop the king back and swing the rook on h2 over to c2. Let's put pressure on c6.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Black can defend it, but hey, it's pressure. And we'd be pressurizing two pawns then. Maybe something would give. Come on, rook h1. Or maybe queen c5. Maybe, not in this position. Oh, he goes for it. Anyway. Huh. Uh-oh, we got two passed pawns. How did that happen?
Yeah, interesting.
Now we got chances. We got chances.
Yeah, it's still hard to break through. Pawns are blockaded.
Yeah, everything's blockaded. Have to give up a pawn to open anything up. I think Doug just figured it was a draw. I think it was like the maneuver I was talking about, the bishop to c1 maneuver was just too slow, and it was way faster just to drop the a pawn and bring the queen over to h1 and just try and break through. And I don't think it quite won a pawn yet, but it was good pressure. It was really good pressure, and there were a lot of threats there.
We got Roman and Panda started already. And we're tied at 4 after 2 rounds.
Are we? Huh. I think I would have preferred him doing queenside pressure, honestly. Even though, I don't know, he has to do a lot of maneuvering to get any threats on the king side.
Maybe he has some time since that knight's kind of misplaced on a6.
Oh yeah, he's owed a tempo at least from that. Maybe 2.
Now the king
But still, he just moved his rook up to g3 and it's like doing nothing. Is he going to actually sack on g6? No way. He's going to sack the knight for 3 pawns?
Certainly not.
I don't think he even gets 3 pawns, actually.
It's 2 pawns, isn't it?
Yeah. Tell you what, he would love to take his f2 pawn off the board, and then rook f1, and then now we're talking.
Yeah. Problem is, his queen's kind of trapped over on h3 now.
Yeah. And it just sack the rook. Really?
Huh.
Does this work?
Well, I guess if black takes, he gets the exchange back, so he's...
But it's still only 2 pawns, right?
Yeah, and all the pieces are coming off.
I guess he actually it will be 3 pawns. So this was the way to do it if you're going to do it. Takes, knight takes, queen has to defend the rook. Knight takes, a8 or h8, queen takes, and then queen takes on e6. Oh, maybe we're getting 4 pawns then. Ooh, and we're owed a couple tempos. So nice, he found it. I take it all back.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that. He's got that rather strong pawn on e5. This could be interesting.
Well, what's going to happen is he's going to be up this pawn, maybe 2 pawns, and black can't take, obviously. Like, it's just he loses everything. That'd be a horrible position if he took. That was definitely a surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just looking at the knight sacrifice. I wasn't looking at the rook sacrifice. I think Oni 419 was in a similar situation.
Well, it definitely gets the queen on h3 back into the game.
Yeah. Now, if the king had stayed over there, this doesn't work. But because the king started walking away, it worked. Black panicked. Let's see here. Yeah, if he just left the king on g7, there is nothing. There you go. He was afraid of ghosts, and then the specter got a hold of him. After that 10-man game, was it? Yeah, Short, where Short did the walk with his king all the way up. Everybody wants to do king walks now. They think they're awesome. They aren't always awesome.
You can make it work, I guess.
If you can make it, it's that way with any chess position. If you can make it work, it's awesome. I mean, is white threatening rook takes on e6 now with his... Yeah. He is. He totally is. He's starting to take on e6. And just destroy black's central position. So g6 fell. h5 will definitely fall. I don't know. Was he have to do like king d7? Huh? What? That's like, you're just losing, dude.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting now.
Well, it's just losing. It's just completely losing. You lose all those pawns, and white is all up in your grill. That's just losing.
You even grab on a d5 with check.
Sure. And you're hitting the rook in the quarter. Oh. And he didn't bother winning the exchange right away. His knight's actually a little better than that rook, so why rush it?
I'm wondering maybe white can go queen d6 here because king c8 has got 97. The king has to go to b7 and
Really close to a checkmate there.
there's some potential checkmates.
Well, I definitely know that Roman will find the best move here. So
Still got plenty of time.
yeah, he could spend 6 minutes and we'll work it all out. Although, if he doesn't want to spend the time, he just takes the rook. Well, there you go. And it's winning. It's just completely winning.
Yeah.
The knight on a6 is terrible. The rook on a8 is terrible. The king on d8 is terrible. The queen on h8 is terrible. Oh, man. I'm really surprised he took the rook. Like, he just had to go 2 pawns down. Like, this is hopeless here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 2 pawns is pretty hopeless too, but you still have pieces. You still have chances, right?
Yeah. Yeah, now white's going to get d5 in and have these 2 monster pawns in the center of the board.
Oh, man. This is almost embarrassing. Huh. This is a Queen's India? Yep. In Doug's game, he's got a pretty tempting move in bishop d6. I guess it doesn't do a lot, but it's tempting nonetheless. Maybe g4? That's pretty ambitious, but... Yeah, I don't like this rook e1 actually. I was thinking about it, but I think I prefer the queen on e8 where she wants to move anyway because he wants to slide the rook over. And we can't play bishop d6. Well, now rook e8 is probably a blunder, right? Rook e8, rook takes, queen takes, d7. I guess we could just take back with the queen. Okay. About bishop e5. Takes, knight takes, the queen has to run. I guess Play queen c6, hit g2. Nope, still can't do that because of the knight. Okay. Queen. Where does the queen go?
It looks like Panda lost. Got a whole bunch of pressure down the H file in his game.
Yeah, that's enough pressure right there. Wow, this is really interesting. Isaiah's game, we're down to a knight versus a bishop position where White's bishop is not great. Although, nope, not great. I was going to say bishop g4 was an idea, but it doesn't look like it works because of f5.
Yeah, it's a really nice knight on e5 there.
Yeah, these are my kind of positions. I really like it when I have a great knight. My opponent has a terrible bishop.
Yeah.
I really like that. We have ideas of like doing f5, g5, g4, rolling the king side after some preparation. Like swing the queen around, like queen c7 or d8, and then I guess now d8, and swing the queen around, and then just start pushing the king side pawns, taking space. And that bishop on e2 is just suffering here. Yeah, advantage to black. So it looks like Roman got the piece back, and now he's just way better.
Yeah, we just trade off the queens and the rooks.
Yeah, it's just a win.
Yeah.
And the king's open. We don't have to trade rooks. Actually, we can keep attacking that king. Yeah, there you go. It's too tempting not to.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think black might be getting checkmated here pretty soon. Oh, let's see. King Or king f5. Who do we play after king f5?
King f5 or queen d7 just wins the rook.
Oh, right. And of course, going to h4 is checkmate. So I think we just won here. Just going to take off the rook. Don't even have to try and chase checkmate.
Yeah, use the lines. So.
Nice game from Rowan.
All right, so we're back to even, 5-5 now.
Yeah.
Are we? Who's still going? We got Isaiah and Doug.
Yeah. I'd say Isaiah's looking pretty good, and Doug's way down on the clock. On that pawn, b6 looks a little overextended. It'd be hard to hold on to that one.
Last year, did they split match points? Or did it go to the...
What do you mean?
Like if it's an 8-8 tie.
Yeah, we get half, I guess.
I think they did. That seems like that happened, actually.
Then we'd still be in first because we've got the game points. So.
I mean, otherwise you have to do like some tie-break rule. Okay, so Isaiah went ahead and broke. He wanted to get the game going. Now we can trade rooks as white. But h4 is weak, it's got to be said. Maybe queen d2? Queen d1, okay. And Isaiah's black queen on c7. She doesn't really want to guard b6. She's going to be looking for an opportunity to get out of there.
Yeah, queen d7 maybe.
Actually, I was thinking something a little radical. And queen d8 and then e6. It's probably too radical, though. Like, if it's not just winning, it's kind of bankrupting the position. It's hard to hold h4.
Yeah.
This is uncomfortable for white. I guess he can play rook h3. So, like, trade the rooks on f4, rook h3, and then we have to worry about what? Queen to f2? Hitting all the pawns. I decided to push his pawn, weaken his king. Now it's like, rook f2 or rook d4. I still want to get my queen to f2. We can try and do rook e4, queen f2. We definitely get stopped, though. Rook f2, the problem with rook f2 is it doesn't do a lot. And we just actually kind of could potentially walk into a pin after a queen g1 after the bishop on e2 is defended or just moved. Hold the pawn, he says. Black was never going to take on c4 because Black's knight is amazing. It's worth way more than, going a pawn up. Way more.
Yeah. Well, now maybe queen c8 and queen h3.
Yeah, queen c8, then bishop f1, and then queen f5. And what, king g1? There's some ideas here. Definitely better for Black.
Yeah. King g1 first.
If queen f5 is bishop f3 just nonsense? It feels like nonsense.
Yeah, because it drops a piece, doesn't it? Did 3 times, only defended once, or twice.
Oh, yeah. So it's absolute nonsense. So after we defend the rook,
Wonder why queen f8 instead of queen f5. Queen f5 was more active.
I think he was thinking in case he had to run back. Because Isaiah is kind of like, he likes his defense. He likes to stay solid. He's probably thinking he can run back if he has to and hold the B pawn. It kind of doesn't work because his rook would be hanging now, but maybe that was part of the thinking.
And now the bishop's just independent.
Oh, he just dropped a bishop?
Yes.
To get past pawns? He thought his position was that bad?
Yeah, I think this is just over now. I mean, queen,
yeah, this is over.
Queen f1.
Queen and the rook, like, there's checkmating threats here. Like, that was definitely not worth it. He just dropped the bishop. I've been meaning to ask, like, if we like go in and type in the spectator room, do those guys, do they have it set so they don't watch it, or are they totally going to be bugged by it?
I mean, the players?
Yeah.
I don't think they see it until the game's over. I think that's how it works.
Ah.
Where other spectators can see it, but the 2 players don't see it until the game's over. I believe that's how it works.
Why is this guy still playing? What is he doing?
I don't know.
He's just being a punk. Yeah, he's just being. What? Is he playing a computer?
Well, it's a nice win for Isaiah.
No, that was solid. That was. He got the better piece and was able to make good on it. In Doug's game, this is tough.
We win tonight. I'm going to get some celebration pizza, I think.
Celebration pizza?
Yeah.
Does that have like streamers and party hats, or?
Got onions and green peppers. And then...
Those would probably taste better, yeah.
We lose, I'll get consolation spaghetti or something.
Constantly.
We're up.
It sounds like all your food is just like for comfort.
Yeah. We're up 6-5 now.
Yeah. It's I don't know if Doug can hold his position. This is really good for Black. Black has really great pawns, and Doug's pawns are kind of just terrible. So if Black takes this d6 pawn and Bishop captures on d6, we have the trade, and then Knight c4, can Black win that position? I mean, Black can win that position, but it's going to be hard, right?
Yeah, White can keep the king out. If White can maybe put the king on e4.
Which he can do.
Yeah.
There will be like an f5 at some point, but we have g5. Yeah. So it looks like Black isn't sure, so he didn't go ahead and take it. He took that one instead.
He wants the b3 pawn, yeah.
Now that is a lot closer to a win. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot closer. We got the bishop support, the knight support. Knight a5 ideas, king e6 coming up. So if king e4, then we have to move the bishop as Black, and then try and get in king e6 and f5. Okay, that's probably better than just letting the pawn run. Huh. What's Black's idea here? Is he going to play try for a g6, bishop g7, or around that way? Ah, he's going to hit the knight. Try and get a... Oh, king check. That's uncomfortable. King e2. I still think that knight b3 is an idea. Yeah, knight b3 makes... Well, not now.
Yeah, I guess he just didn't want
He's just so down on the
five.
clock. That makes it hard.
Yeah.
Yep, he's just going to try and blitz him out some.
It should be for Black there now.
Yeah. Gonna be hard to save this one. We're gonna have to count on some stalemate trick. Which is really hard to execute.
Yeah.
knight's bad. The H pawn is actually weak. Ugh. I'm surprised how fast black is playing. He's got 2 minutes. Just take his time, get it right, and it'll be over. Although that looks like it's winning. Oh, yeah, there you go. So that's winning.
Oh, the fourth round's already started?
Yeah, Isaiah started up.
And Isaiah's got white against Ashton Jin, 2240.
Was that a reverse Slav that Isaiah played? Do you know, Brian?
I think it's just a London system.
Just regular London? I mean, it's definitely the London opening, but it looks like that structure.
So Doug and Panda have started theirs. And Roman started his. We got all 4. You guys are on Isaiah's game?
Yeah. Bishop c7 is an idea, but rook a6 or maybe knight d7 looks okay. I also have ideas of like, to calculate it with bishop d6. It's an idea as well. I think I would wait until black moved his bishop to do it, but
yeah, I think black would just put the king on d7. Yeah, stop that idea.
yeah, he might have to, because that knight and bishop are a little annoying.
So maybe just play 94 and then king d7 and just try and play bishop d6 and trade off a bishop.
Like 94, he does have to worry about bishop c7, rook a6, and then the bishop tries to find a useful move so he can threaten knight c7. Maybe there's nothing there, but you have to think about it. Interesting. So Roman got a French position where he got the f5 break. It's interesting about that kind of pawn structure in the French is like it's usually super solid for black once they get an f5, and captures didn't happen on f6. So like, I mean, he's pushing on the queen side, but it's going to be really hard for white to actually do a lot in this game.
Roman's been playing both sides of the French tonight.
Yeah. But white did get his d4 piece. He can keep a piece there eternally now. That's something. And the bishop on c8 is kind of, yeah, she's suffering. She don't like it, or he don't like it, rather. Most bishops are he's. Most. Not all.
A4. I guess that's the thing now. If you don't know what to do, you just play H4.
It's become really trendy. Like, there's a lot of strong players that just kind of flick it in now. I mean, I guess it's always been a thing, but it seems like it's trending more now.
Queen C7, an idea?
Queen c7 and then queen e1 is probably at least an answer. Oh, what?
Castle is not a knight as square.
He's going to move the knight to h8? Interesting. I don't know if that would have been my preference, but I definitely do it in a blitz game against you.
I think come to f7 and be pretty good there, maybe.
I mean, f7 h6, like. Yeah, I mean, it takes as much time as the other idea I had. I was thinking about playing the other knight to g8, and then once he hit it, knight to e7, and then we could play the knight in g8 to h6. But we weren't castled then, so. Wow.
H6.
Wow. I'm a little surprised he just like immediately said, okay. I would have thought about opening that G file if I were black. I guess he's going to put, his whole plan right now is to put pressure on the C pawn, right? Bishop D7, Rook C8, Rook, Queen C7. It's not going to win it, but there's going to be pressure there. So much for that pressure. I don't know. I get the feeling that Roman might be playing for a draw in this game. I'm getting that feeling.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, this is the two number ones.
Roman's got a 2298, and this guy's got a 2297, so Roman's the favorite.
That's yes, clear favorite.
Looking at Doug's game, he's castle queenside and has opened up the G file with a
nice
bishop on D7. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's, you have to be careful though, like just rolling ahead, like pushing the H pawn, then the knight sits on G5 forever. So you can't just roll the H pawn, which means white can play G3 and be pretty solid, actually. Although, it's got to be said, that light square bishop, ominous. That would be making me uncomfortable. I think it's going to be actually white doing a lot more of the attacking, though. Because white can push his A pawn, and black just kind of has to weather the pawn storm. I would probably start off with a rook to G8, the rook on H8 to G8, just so that when he is threatening to take on D4, I guess we're not too worried about that, though, are we? Queen can take on B4, and then there goes the pawn storm. Yeah, so maybe rook G8, rook H to G8 is a pretty good move, or at least an idea.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What game are you on?
We're looking at Doug's.
Oh, okay. I was looking at Romans. I was like, I don't know how you play rook H, GH.
You're not rated high enough for that yet.
Yeah.
Another 100 points, you can do it.
National Master move or something. Like Feingold talks about Grandmaster moves and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I tell you what, Isaiah's game is really, it's all locked up, but it's unique. We got these doubled pawns on the queen side. Black's managed to double his rooks on the A file. But Isaiah just broke with B3. And after those pawns exchange, I mean, if black doesn't exchange, then we're going to play B4. The rook's going to get kicked. And then we have a rook C7, or a knight C7, rather.
Yeah.
So he has to take. And now we have the C4 push. So it has to be that white's better here. I would think about doing it right away. Just C4.
Yeah, I don't see any reason not to.
I mean, my only concern is knight B4, knight D3 ideas, but because if we do it right away, C4, then knight B4, then we can't take on D5, and because he'll just trade rooks, and then he'll take back with his knight and have a great knight there. I'd really like to get our knight on F3 to D3. That's what I'd really like. That's what. I guess he likes it too, because King E2 enables that. See if that's what he's going for. But if the pressure doesn't mean anything, then the rook on A5 is just kind of, yeah. It really doesn't have anything to do there. Oh, he decided to go to D2. I was thinking knight E1 to D3, but D2... Is he just thinking about trading knights, F3, and then trying to push E4?
Yeah, I think he just wants to get rid of that knight on E4.
He could have done it with knight E1, F3, and then we would have had the knight on D3, which would have been an awesome piece. I don't know. We definitely want to play C4, but we have to watch out for that knight B4 idea. Huh. He just did not like the knight on E4.
Yeah, no, F3 and...
We're still not getting in our C4 idea, though. Or E4. Is he going to try bishop C2? I don't know about that idea. Because then black can put pressure on the A pawn if the bishops trade. And we have to put both our rooks on the A file holding the A pawn. I don't like that much. Huh. Yeah, I really preferred the knight E1 to D3 maneuver. I think that was a way more compelling way to play.
Okay, there he goes for C4.
Played it anyway. Okay.
Yes.
So knight B4 is a pretty natural move here. Maybe he's thinking that after the rooks trade, he can get a rook to C7. Maybe on a good day.
And no, maybe. Yeah, knight B4, C takes D5. Black takes on C1, he can throw in D takes D6 check. Or,
Right, yeah.
of course, black goes in and takes.
I think he's trying to get a rook to C7. I think that's what's going on here. Which isn't a terrible idea, actually. The rook on A5 is just like passively watching what's going on. Ah.
Yeah, it drops back to...
Makes sense. But still, we can just play the other rook to C1 and double, and there's pressure.
Yeah. Yep, there it is.
And we just play E4, we play D5, and white's got an advantage. Although, we do have a knight A5 right now, don't we? Does that do a lot? Maybe it doesn't do too much, but it could cause a swap of pieces, relieving all the pressure. At least some of it.
Well, knight A5, white could take twice on C8 and then drop the bishop back to A2, maybe.
Yeah. But we got the rooks off at least for black, which would be that'd be a pretty big win because white has a lot of pressure on the C file. Although knight a5, rook c7, way better than trading, way better. Knight a5, rook c7, king drops back, or you can trade, but probably not good to trade at that point. Yeah, actually, that knight on c6 is just not happy. Those pawns are about to roll into his face, and if he trades, then we get a rook on c7. Take on f4, or on e5 rather, and then f takes on e5, bishop drops back to e3, hitting the b pawn. What do we got to play? Bishop d8? Passive. We got to look out for bishop f7, right?
Yeah.
Bishop f7. Just have to play our rook back to c3. And that drops the a pawn. Yep, that drops the a pawn. Bummer. If we could have held that one.
Well, b6 is hanging also.
Does knight or does rook at c6, does that do anything we want it to do?
Yeah, I was looking at that, but I don't think so because pawn takes on c6 and the knight's just hanging.
Right. So we just dropped that one. We're gonna get b6, but not as nice as it's not as much as we wanted.
Well, still though, I mean, white's got one pawn island and black's got 3.
Yeah, white's for choice. It's just not as good as what we're trying to get out of it. I guess we can play a rook to d3, double the rooks there, try and infiltrate. Although we still have a rook to d8. All right, just, yep, take on b6.
And now knight c7, 6 possibility.
Yeah, if knight c7, then we can get a rook into d7. Okay, he moved the bishop. Knight c7. But we could play our other rook to d3 now. Oh, we could play our rook to d7 anyway. He let it happen.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to get somewhere. I think it's the time pressure. I think aerospastic monkey is succumbing to time pressure.
We're 96. We're hitting both pawns.
Hitting both pawns. Yeah, it looks pretty good to me. looks pretty good. I think black's gonna fold. He doesn't have enough time, and his position's deteriorating.
C3, rook C2.
Ooh, looks like Roman's down a piece. Yeah, he lost a piece somewhere along the way.
Panda's down at exchange. Doug is up a couple pawns. Yes.
Panda lost.
Doug's got a nice position. He might be winning here. I think he is winning.
Who? Doug? Is that what you said?
Yeah, so it's a bishop versus knight in game. He's up 2 pawns. He's got a pass pawn on the 7 rings.
So. Panda lost it.
Well, if Doug and Isaiah can win, we'll at least tie.
Hey, don't count Roman out. He's crafty.
Yeah, Roman.
Although that looks like a loss.
Oh yeah, I guess
he'd have to be
Doug
super
and
crafty.
Isaiah win and Roman can draw. That would be good enough.
Pretty tough to do in that position.
Are you guys on Doug's game?
Yeah, we were looking at Doug's right there. That should be an easy win for Doug. I don't see how White holds that. Soon enough, Black's going to have passed pawns. He's going to have 3 passed pawns here pretty soon. Yeah, he's going to win that one. So you can count that a +1 for Doug. And you can probably... is Mr. Monkey here putting up a fight, or is he just... He didn't play 96. Isaiah didn't play 96. I wonder why. Why didn't he play 96?
I don't know. Of course, now I can play rook D1 and put the other rook on D7. And play it again, or still play it. White's got to be better here.
Oh, he didn't play 96 because he had knight to D4. And even though it gives up a pawn, it got rid of that terrible beast up in his face.
Now, rook D7 maybe.
Yeah, rook D7 looks pretty okay. Just take the pawn. Then maybe knight D3.
Yeah, knight D3 is pretty good, yeah.
And there you go. Up a pawn, up about a minute. And we can start pushing. Excellent chances for Isaiah. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be tied. I think it's going to be 2-2. Unless Mr. Monkey here is actually an amazing blitz player. Gotta move, Isaiah. Gotta move.
G4
Just
maybe?
move, buddy. Defend the pawn. Bishop C3.
Yeah.
Now he's going to play, what, G5 or G... And then we'll see G4 maybe? King up. And we can drop the bishop back, and then we can try and get our knight to D4. Ah, he let us do it anyway. This should be close to winning. Play the king up, or play it that way, I guess. Ooh. Oh, he's going to play bishop check? Oh, man. Those pawns are in dark squares, but it's going to be a draw. We're going to lose. I shouldn't say it's going to be a draw. It could be anything at this point. King up, king up. Oh. 3 to a draw.
Yeah.
He should have went for it.
Lost by half.
Should have went for it.
He probably didn't know what the score was.
Oh, I'm sure he didn't. Well, that will be half a point. Will be, what, half a point down?
Yeah.
Tough match. Pretty close. Man. We're almost there. We almost had it. Man, that was tough.
Doing the computer analysis on Isaiah's game.
On Isaiah's game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a complicated game. It was a kind of an odd opening.
Yeah. It's funny, he pushed E6. That was the mistake. If he could just play King D5, he was like +3.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's the kind of stuff you don't want to find out about. It makes sense, though, because pushing the pawn gives up squares.
Yeah, well, like you just want to keep your king controlling that square in front of your pawn so you can push it if you need to.
Yeah, I wanted to play King F5 for sure, although the knight check drives it back. We had tricks. I mean, we could have dropped the bishop back. You're looking at like move 59, right around there.
Let's see. Yeah, move 60 for white. Yeah, it says, well, I guess King F5 is second best, but King D5 is best.
King D5, that makes sense too.
Yeah.
I was going to say we had tricks with like bishop E1 and then King F5. And if the knight jumps into F4, then we can just push H4.
Yeah, I think maybe the problem with King F5 is black can just play knight E7 check, and the king just has to go back.
Oh, knight E7. Yeah, okay.
Because has no squares.
Yeah, on D5, knight E7, we can just keep going with the king.
Yeah.
And get all the way down to what, D7?
Yeah. You actually.
And then that's like the perfect position to escort that pawn.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's also if the king comes to D7, it's hitting a bishop too, with tempo, so. But it's hard to see when you're so low on time.
Oh yeah, of course. It's we just got to move. It's hard to see.
I guess maybe you thought E6 is putting the pawn on light square so the bishop can't hit it, but
Well,
Problem is,
what he's definitely seeing is he's seeing the knight hit the pawn, he's seeing the bishop hit the pawn, and then if he has to move his knight around, then the king is going to step up and hit the pawn. That's probably all he saw, or at least sensed. Cool. Well, who are we matched up against? I guess you're checking that now. See who we're matched up against next time.
Well, since they pairings differently, we have to wait until all the games are over, and then somehow they pair it system instead of just having play them all in order.
Having it fixed.
Yeah.
that's interesting.
I think it
It is
seems like
interesting.
it'll work out the same way. I don't think they'll let us play the same team twice just because we're.
Yeah. So we play Illinois and Minnesota, which are probably two of the best teams.
Yeah.
So if you go 1-1, that's not bad.